Hey ladies and gentlemen, it's a crazy video I'm making because I don't even know what to say, but I'm going to make it anyway. And the reason why I don't know what to say is, well, because of the market, and I really don't like talking about it because, well, some people like to say that I'm a chronic, well, at least one person says I'm a chronic complainer, and so I don't want to come off as a chronic complainer, and I don't want to be boo-hooing, but you know, you get your haters out there, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. So while I make this cup of coffee, I guess I'll make a video and talk about this market for a second. So far this year, we've been averaging 500 trucking companies have been giving up their authorities. In other words, going out of business so far this year. So we are in the first week of February. That's 5 weeks. So that's about 2,500 companies already so far in 2023 that have closed their doors. And who knows if they'll ever come back, right? Or if they should come back. Because, and then last year, here I wrote it down. Last year, 88,000 trucking companies gave up their authority. They closed their doors last year. And so far in the first 5 weeks, we've got 2,500. So it's even worse than it was last year at the rate we're going. And I guess the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I continually have come across the rates being all-time low. I mean, come on. I just was over in, I'm in COLBY, Kansas right now, by the way. If you don't know where COLBY, Kansas is, it's on the west side of Kansas, on the interstate. And so, anyway, so I'm in COLBY, Kansas, and I'm going to finish up my 34 and then make it over to Salina, Kansas, and try to find a load over there. So Friday when I got to Denver, actually Aurora, which is Denver, I unloaded and then called a guy, and I should have called him ahead of time because he did ask me to, but I didn't, and he didn't have nothing. And so I looked at the load boards, and man, rates for 48,000 pounds, basically as heavy as you can get. For 48,000 pounds, you could get a whole whopping 90 cents a mile. 90 cents a mile, and you can call up, and they are not willing to negotiate. And sorry about tripping on my tongue. It's just it's a real sore issue with me. I mean, look, 88,000 plus the 25 this year already have gone out of business, and somehow or another here I'm still sitting here. I did get my tax returns for last year. Now I usually average, because I don't run that hard anymore, you know. I'm 62 here in a minute, and you know, and so I just don't run that hard. It has nothing to do with my age. It has more to do with just, you know, I like to spend time at home. I don't want to be a prisoner of the road. So, anywho, so I don't run that hard anymore. So my average for a year gross is right around 140,000. But this last year, for 2023, I came in at 80,000. And that's pretty low. I believe that's the lowest that I've had since being an owner-operator. I've been an owner-operator for 18 years now. And So yeah, but here I still am. I'm in a truck where I've had to borrow 10 grand to put tires on my truck, and I spent probably a total of 30,000 since this time last year getting my truck in order. So, and it's not complete. I mean, it never is. It's a working machine, so it always needs things. And brakes are coming. Drums, trailer's gonna need drums. The truck's good with the drums, but it's gonna need shoes. And you know, I've ordered my oil and filters and stuff like that. And so, but what I'm saying is that it's costing me money to keep my truck on the road. And it's not earning the money to keep itself on the road. And so that's how bad it is. So basically I am paying out of my pocket to haul people's freight, if you want to get down to the brass tacks of it. Yeah, because I'm not making enough money to do the maintenance. Therefore, I'm having to take my future and put myself in debt in order to keep my truck on the road in order to haul people's freight. So I guess that doesn't make me very bright, but that's where I am. That's my scenario. And I know there's people who made comments and say, well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? Well, you know, when I was in my teens, in my 20s, I did lots of bad things. You know, I was into drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, sex, women, you name it. And it didn't always lead to a good path. And so I got a record, and I can't, since they did the 911 record thing, you know, and when you go to haul military freight, I can't do military freight. I used to do military freight. I used to haul all kinds of military freight. And man, I used to like some of the stuff I'd get, like helicopter blades, pay for a full load, and here you got this box. It's just a box about this big, about as long as your trailer, and take it from Oklahoma City all the way up to by Seattle, up there, wherever that base is. It's close to Seattle, and get paid better than most heavy loads, you know, full loads. And I've done lots of stuff in Jeeps and you name it. But when they started doing the background check at the gate, my last time I hauled helicopter blades, I ended up having to go to the truck stop and get on my radio and pay somebody to take my truck into the base and unload the blade for me. And so I haven't hauled military freight since. And so to answer your question why I don't do military freight, that's why. And so, you know, sometimes you do things wrong when you're young and dumb and stupid and lost, and you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. And so, and anywho, so I guess the reason why I wanted to bring up this video is the 88,000 that went out of business last year, and the 2,500 that are already gone out so far this year. Gone out of trucking, and freight rates being around 90 cents. Now I did book this load coming over here to Denver was $3.19 a mile, but before I did that, every load that I was looking at, especially ones going back east from down there around San Antonio, that's where I was at, $1.50 went so fast I couldn't even dial the phone number. Before I could dial the phone number, all I get was a busy signal. And if I did get through, it was like the load was already taken. And I mean, $1.50 a mile was being sold quicker than you can inquire. And wow. Now, this isn't the first time it's been like this. I've had 3 other trucks other than this one. I've been trucking for 31 years, 32 years, something like that, but that's not including when I was in my 20s, and you know, I used to do some trucking back then, hauling during the early 80s, hauling lettuce out of Salinas, California to Chelsea, New York and stuff. But I just did that to learn, and and so on. But I didn't do it as a profession. I started doing it for a profession until '92. So, but I forgot what I was getting at. But oh yeah, I've been through this before. Trucking is kind of like that. It does have its peaks and its valleys, and of course I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that now, especially because of the internet giving out so much information. Yeah, but this has got to be the deepest valley and the longest valley I've ever seen. And then on top of it, you have the government by lobbyists. Obviously, the lobbyists are paid by big outfits, trucking companies that they have so much money that they don't even have to buy insurance. They just have to put $1 million in the bank and it's nothing to them, and voila, they don't need to inquire for insurance like we do. And so because they got their own butts covered, and so and so they hire lobbyists to sit up there in Washington and buy crooked politicians to pass regulations on us, and like raising the insurance and speed limiters and ELDs and all the other stuff that we have to put up with, and so I mean, it's like, and they don't do anything about freight brokers, and freight brokers can do whatever they want and they don't regulate them. Well, why is that? Because I believe that they want freight brokers to be able to rape and pillage and take as much as they can from truck drivers, because if you put two and two together, they're regulating trucking, independent truck drivers so much that they can't compete in the market, and they don't do anything to their freight brokers because they want them to rape and pillage. They want them to steal all the money out of the freight. Therefore, that's 90% of the job being done for them, because their whole goal, the big industries, their whole goal is to shut down the little guy, because then they get the whole pie, and that's the way I see it. Make a comment if I'm wrong, but that's the way I'm seeing it. And it's a little frustrating. I saw Mother Trucker this morning about the new insurance law that they passed over there. It's just like in California when they passed their EPA law. I used to run to California. I'm originally from California. I left there when I was 21. Then I moved to Washington State, and from Washington State to Texas, and Texas back to Washington State, and then to Nebraska, and ultimately I moved to Kentucky in '92. But I still have family in California, and I used to like to drive out there and visit family and in between loads. And yeah, I haven't been able to do that in years due to the EPA law. I didn't even like going to California. The air is so filthy when you get out there. Like you're going out of Bakersfield, when you get to the top of the mountain, start heading into Orange County, you can feel the sky turns orange, and the air is filthy. You can feel it on your skin. And so I really didn't like it. It's a rat race, and I don't really care for California. You can have it. It's a beautiful state, but that's no place where I want to live. They totally ruined that from the way it was when I was a kid. So anyway, but my point is, I used to like to run out there to visit my family, but because of the regulations of the EPA, that came to an end. And then you got this regulation here where they're trying to, insurance is what, $14,000 a year for a beginner, and if you're a good driver and you've been at it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can get it down to $8,000, a year. And I stay leased on to a company because I can get my insurance way cheaper, right around $6,000 and $7,000 a year. So being leased on to somebody. But that's at the rates that we got now, and they get that insurance way, that's double $150,000, $150,000, $100.5 million. And right now, what is it, 750,000? And so, yeah, that's double. So, double what we pay now, and we make less than we've made in probably the last 20 years. And freight rates selling at $1 a mile, and it takes $2 a mile just to keep the truck afloat, and that's earning, not making. Earning. The truck needs to earn $2 a mile to keep it afloat, and freight is selling for less than $1.50 a mile, $1 a mile, and then you have the government regulating it. It's just like, you know, is it me, or is between the big man, the big industry, and the government, or are they trying to shut down the industry? Are we, being like many other industries in America, being regulated out of business, where we can no longer do it because of all the regulations and the inflation and the rates being low and the freight brokers eating up all the profits? Everything is stacked against the independent driver, and not to be complaining, but that's the way it looks to me. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to read your comments. Don't be afraid to make them. God bless, and later.